So I want to talk about organizing and categorizing your subscribers. I'm just going to look at it at a very high level now. I'll also be going into the interface and show you all of these principles in context of MailChimp. So inside of MailChimp, you have your account, obviously. Inside of your account, you have lists, and you can categorize your list members into groups. And then you can use segments to further filter your groups and other criteria that MailChimp gathers on your subscribers. I'm going to go into a little more detail on each of these. So inside of your account, you can have multiple lists. However, in most use cases, I would recommend just having one list for your business. First of all, having the same person or email subscriber on two lists is actually going to count as two subscribers. So that'll affect your costs as your list grows. If you want to categorize people on your list, use the group function within a single list. This is going to be a lot more simple and efficient in the long term. Now, there are some cases where you might use multiple lists. For instance, if you have completely separate business channels that are never going to overlap. So for instance, at So Young, we have retail customers. These are people we sell to directly through our website. We also have wholesale customers. These are stores that we sell our products to at a wholesale price. These audiences are never going to overlap. We would never send the same messaging or communication to both of these different groups. So in that scenario, there is a good case for maintaining two separate lists for customers and wholesale customers. Let's talk about groups. So groups are really the best way to organize your subscribers into categories and subcategories. So there are, inside of MailChimp, there are things called group categories and there are group names. So for example, if you were a retailer of shoes or footwear, the group category would be, for instance, the brand that someone is interested in or the brands that someone is interested in. And the group names within that group category would be the actual brand names themselves. So Nike, Puma, and Adidas. So as you can see, based on this structure, subscribers can actually belong to multiple group categories and group names. However, people can only join groups by filling out a specific form, which you can filter to that group. They can do it by updating their preferences, or you can manually add them to a group. In other words, you can import an entire list of people and you could assign them in bulk to a group, or you could do it one by one, which would obviously be a long and tedious process. So that's why you want to set groups up in the beginning and make sure that you're filtering people into groups through the forms that you're creating. I'll get more into that once we're inside of MailChimp. Okay, then there are segments. So segments are really a way of filtering your subscribers based on information that you know about them, including the groups that they may belong to. So segments use what's called conditional logic. And again, I'll show you an example of this, but these are essentially and/or statements that allow you to combine different group information with other information that MailChimp collects, such as purchase info, where they live, and so on. For example, again, if you're a shoe retailer, a segment has a brand interest of Nike, so everyone who has shown a brand interest in Nike. We might also include anyone who has purchased Nike in the past, whether or not they've actually been added to the group of Nike interest. We would presume that they would have an interest because they purchased the product in the past. And let's say you wanted to only target people who lived in the USA, then you would choose the location USA, which is the kind of information that MailChimp tracks for you. So segments can essentially be created on the fly to reach a specific audience for a specific email campaign. So you could create a unique segment for each email that you send out. And you can also save segments, then reuse them in the future so you don't have to re-enter all the criteria. That's an overview. Again, I'm going to show you all this inside of the MailChimp interface, so don't worry if you're a little confused by all this. It is confusing. What I'd like you to do, just as a to-do on the end of this short lesson, is create a list of the customer interests that you might like to track in MailChimp using groups. So for instance, it could be something like if you have several categories of product, you may want to track interest in those categories based on the user profile. You may want to track what kind of content people would like. So if you're going to be doing a lot of content marketing, some people may just be interested in sales and promotional material. Some people may be just interested in blog content. So you want to make sure that you have them segmented that way. Could be something as simple as their gender if you're selling, say, fashion that appeals to both men and women, but you want to segment that. You may want to see if people have children. If perhaps you have some kids products, you would be marketing to the parents, but you want to know which parents have children, so you're not marketing needlessly to people who aren't interested in the products. So that's it. We'll see you in the next lesson.